gentlemen, now it's Too Late with Alan Mosley.
Guys, welcome back to the show. It feels like it's been a minute. It feels like it's been a minute, hasn't it, Blake?
Nah, it ain't been that long.
Well, I know. It hasn't been that long, but it took us an extra few weeks to do another episode of the show. Because you notice, it's not the gold standard with Alan Mosley
It is
anymore.
not.
We have retired the gold standard. So let's do a moment of silence for the gold standard.
Oh, well.
All right, so the gold standard is done. We have moved on to It's Too Late with Alan Mosley, the late night talk show. It took us an extra couple of weeks. We've been working on a lot of stuff. A lot of new graphics,
like
a
that
lot
intro.
of new music.
Yeah.
And we now actually have a really good producer cam. So everybody say hello to producer extraordinaire Blake.
Hi.
There's Blake. It looks good. Look at that. Looks good, Blake.
Oh, yeah. I just don't like seeing myself, you know.
You're not in the dark dungeon anymore. I've noticed.
I'm not. No, I should have shaved though.
Oh my God. I'll tell you what, if you shaving is the only problem that we have in this first episode of It's Too Late, this will be a smashing success.
Yeah, you bet.
So guys, thank you so much for indulging us in this new program, kind of going in a little bit new direction, a little bit more entertainment, a little bit more mainstream focused, but we're still the same. I really want to be clear with this. We're not changing who we are.
Right.
We're not changing what we're about. We're just being more retarded. I mean, that's what the world needs.
Can you say that?
I just did, so I think you could say that. I am watching my language though. So there won't be any DS's like I used to say.
Correct.
But for people that don't like the way that we're going with the show, we will still refer them to euthanasia.com/it's too late to get the information they need to make the right choice.
Yes, sir.
You know, since we did have a couple of weeks off, that means we totally skipped all the impeachment coverage in the news.
Thank
Blake,
God.
play the graphic. Why did that take? We skipped impeachment.
We skipped it.
Why did that take so long?
Oh,
Blake?
it's the same thing, and it's like when I play Call of Duty. Like I never pull the trigger fast enough. I always get shot first. Just one of those things.
So what you're saying is you're not any good at Call of Duty. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm terrible. Anyway,
that's kind of sad.
yeah, I know. It really sucks.
I don't know. I feel like now that we've said Call of Duty on here 3 times, we're gonna get sued. Because they're not sponsoring the show or anything. Like we're gonna have to we're gonna have to make a little scrolling graphic for everything that we mention, saying that all rights reserved, blah 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 blah. No, we skipped all the impeachment coverage, and believe it or not, we didn't exactly know when we were going to be doing the first episode of It's Too Late. So I actually have a couple of sets of show notes where we were prepared to talk about impeachment. We were prepared to talk about the coronavirus.
Ugh.
Yeah, we were prepared to talk about #cancel student debt.
Oh wow.
But we skipped all of that. But there's one thing I want to leave you with, and this is the thing that's kind of really stayed with me through the whole impeachment process, is so many people were working so hard to remove Donald Trump from office. And that wasn't going to happen, and he wasn't convicted in the Senate. But let's just say, hypothetically, a bunch of GOP senators defect, and Donald Trump is convicted, he's removed from office. All that would mean is that you would have President Mike Pence. Do we have Mike Pence? Oh my God. Maybe that is who you want to have as President of the United States. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Pence is just Donald Trump, but a giant theocrat.
Yep.
And it's hard for me to imagine the same people who want to remove Donald Trump from office also being happy with a Pence presidency.
Yeah, I mean, look at the halo on that guy.
Look at that.
That's amazing.
It seems too big. I thought halos were supposed to just be little circles.
On the head, yeah. Oh.
Because that looks almost like it's attached to his back.
Or maybe it's an evil eclipse behind him. I don't know.
Oh, go back to that.
Yeah.
That could be an eclipse.
Yes, sir. Oh, that changes the whole picture.
That does change the whole picture. Okay, yeah, all right, get Pence out of here. I'm done with him. So I'll tell you one thing we missed just this last weekend. Of course, this past Sunday was a huge cultural phenomenon that's very American in nature. You know what I'm talking about, of course.
Yeah, no, the Super Bowl, yeah.
No, it was Groundhog Day. We
That's
had
right,
Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody knows everyone's favorite and most famous groundhog. There's Punxsutawney Phil. Show us. There he is.
Oh, he's so cute.
Oh, look at him.
I want one of those.
He looks a little chubby, I got to be honest with you. Looks like, I think he's been living a pretty, like some people feel like this is animal abuse, but I got to tell you, that groundhog looks well fed.
Yes, he does. He looks very healthy.
Yeah, he does.
He lives in a library?
He lives in a library?
He lives in a library. Yeah. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Punxsutawney Phil, he lives in the library during the rest of the year, and when you go to Punxsutawney to visit him, you can actually go to the library and pet him.
I like how you say that as if I research these segments before we do anything. It's amazing that I even know his name. I had to look it up. And by the way, it's impossible to spell. Don't ask me to spell Punxsutawney Phil. But anyway, it's very important. Now, you just saw that picture. It's very important, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of copycats.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that like to mimic, popular cultural phenomenons, so that you have all these little towns across America that have their own groundhog and they do their own little thing. You really ought to leave that to the professionals, and I'll show you exactly why. Play this clip. This is out of Wisconsin. Now, right there, that's Jimmy.
He's cute.
I'm not even joking. That's Jimmy the groundhog. And they're going to check to see if he sees his shadow, to see if we have an early
he says that he didn't see his shadow.
I should have slowed that down in slow motion.
So it.
I'll let the mayor there. I tell you what. I'll give kudos to the mayor. He does a pretty good job of going on. Look at the picture.
Gosh, it just,
that is the moment that mayor's life changed forever. And he will always be known on Google as Mayor Bit by Groundhog.
That's regretted by
I know this for a fact because that's how we found it.
It's like a groundhog earring. Wow.
Yeah. I can tell you one thing we're not going to do on the show. We're not going to incorporate groundhog. We could incorporate goats, I think.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I know somebody.
Yeah.
I know somebody who has goats.
I know a guy.
Guys, I really hope you enjoyed the new show. We have so much for you coming up after this commercial break. Don't go away. Guys, this is a quick message to everybody. We're going to be taping our episode 100 of the show. Episode 100 of It's Too Late, the program formerly known as The Gold Standard. It's going to be coming up March 14th. It's going to be held in front of a live studio audience right here at Osborne Studio and Sound in Columbia, Tennessee. If you're anywhere in the Middle Tennessee area or are looking to take a quick little trip, come on down Saturday, March 14th of this year for episode 100 live. We're going to have a dessert bar. We're going to have live music. Of course, we're going to take the actual episode 100 itself, and then you're going to get to hang out and share some camaraderie with all sorts of like-minded folks, just like me and Blake. So if you're in the area, please consider coming to episode 100 live. You can RSVP on Facebook at The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley page. It's still there. The only reason that page exists is so that you can RSVP to the live taping of episode 100. And now back to the show. Awesome.
So great.
This, I got to tell you, whoever set this thing up really went above and beyond.
Yeah, man.
Whoever that guy is that built this whole show.
That guy with curly hair over there.
Yeah. They just did some. Guys, welcome back to the program. And I tell you what, even though we've rebranded the show, we're going to be keeping one of our most popular segments.
That's right.
It's time for the meme of the week. That was awesome.
Epic.
That was so cool.
Like evil drums.
I do have to give a quick shout out to Sorcerer Rob, who is our webmaster for the program. So he actually helped with a lot of the files that we're using now in the show. So that one right there is a perfect example of something that came from Rob. Me and Blake didn't do that.
No.
If you're thinking, wow, Alan and Blake really... No, Alan and Blake didn't do anything. Rob did that. So Rob, thank you so much for helping add some flavor to the show. But it's time for our meme of the week.
Yes,
now, I did my little groundhog bit earlier in the show, but of course, last Sunday was the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I wasn't exactly pulling for the Chiefs, but I am happy that Coach Andy Reid got his first Super Bowl ring. Do we have a picture of Andy? So there's Andy Reid on the sideline of the games. Andy's a little bit of a big old boy, but he's one of the winningest coaches of all time. He had never won the big one. He finally got his big Super Bowl. But you know, that little placard right there that he's holding, that had the secret to this year's Chiefs' success. Do we have a picture of that? Oh, there it is.
The steak and eggs there.
I've gotten the steak and eggs.
Yeah.
I've the All-Star Special, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Wonderful.
Of course.
This chili is spicy.
Blake, how do you get your hash browns?
Smothered, covered. That's about it.
Smothered and covered, not all the way.
No.
What a coward! Unbelievable. No, I'm
least
just
they don't
kidding.
charge extra.
I don't do that. You know, I've actually bring that back up. I actually want to order while we're here. So I want to get
Love that
get
All-Star
the triple
special.
the triple hash browns. Get them well done hash browns.
You're making me hungry.
Okay, I know this is terrible. Get that out of here. You know, I actually heard somebody say that the further south you go, the tastier the Waffle House gets.
The question is why.
I genuinely kind of feel for people watching the show who have never been to a Waffle House, or you don't live in a part of the country where Waffle House
You're
is.
missing out.
I don't know where Waffle Houses end and they
What
become,
they do, man.
but we got plenty of Waffle Houses around it. You know, in the last commercial, by the way, you can come to episode 100 live. We have like 4 Waffle Houses here.
It's within a mile.
So go to Waffle House, come to episode 100. You can't beat that stuff.
No way.
So thanks for the meme of the week. We're going to move on to you've got the game itself, and we talked a little bit about the game.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to save the commercials for a little bit later. But Blake, what is it? What's the other thing that people always talk about?
The commercials?
No, the commercials are later. You don't even listen to me, do you?
I-
You don't even watch the show. You don't even listen or watch to the show, and you're hiding yourself right now.
No, the halftime show, right?
Bring yourself up so I can
Bring
yell
myself.
at you.
I have to be berated.
No, other than the game and the commercials, what do people talk about?
Halftime show, man.
The halftime show.
Yes.
You know, some people have some really strong feelings about this time,
Yes.
this year's halftime show. So let's leave it up to Google. Pull up a Google search. Let's Google what was the worst halftime show ever. Let's see what Google says. Oh,
yeah.
this
Yeah.
year's halftime show is the
much.
worst halftime show ever.
There's a lot of 50-year-old butts up there.
So I gotta. Well, there's one 50-year-old
Yeah.
butt up there. Then there's a bunch of little girls, which we're not going to get into that. Yeah, get poor J-Lo out of here. So I've seen people going back and forth about the halftime show. I've seen some people saying it was slutty and it's portraying negative things about or towards children, and I hate it. Or it had too much Spanish influence. I don't like that they sang so much in a foreign language. I hate it. And then you have this other group of people who are saying, oh no, it was this great halftime show that had all of this cultural flavor, and it really reflects the city of Miami, which was where the Super Bowl was hosted. And so it was actually a great halftime show. And I'm ready to go on record here tonight. That halftime show freaking sucked. But to be clear, it didn't suck because I'm a racist and I hated them singing in Spanish. No. It sucked because the performance was awful.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a cheesy 90s music video.
It was just a terrible performance. The actual music was bad. The actual performance was bad. The dude doing the rapping was just abysmal.
Who was that guy?
I don't even
Nobody knows
know
who that dude was.
I don't even know who that was. Maybe it was. You know what? They should just bring back Left Shark. Just bring back Left Shark. Left Shark was way more entertaining than this. But at the end of the day, this is what I'm trying to say, is that you can have disliked the performance because it was a poor musical performance.
Yeah.
And I also want to mention really quick, you automatically get a 0 if you lip sync. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, no matter how good or bad the performance is, if you lip sync, it's an automatic 0. So you know that was an automatic 0.
It was so obvious.
It was so obvious that they were
horrible.
lip syncing. Like I mean, because I actually saw a little thing on Twitter that was from Lady Gaga, where Lady Gaga was saying, "I better not see any lip singing at the halftime show." Of course they did.
Of course.
But in her defense, she was pointing out the fact that Lady Gaga's halftime show was one of the better halftime shows in recent memory, and she absolutely did not lip sync. It was a totally live performance. It was very well done.
And that was the one where she kind of came down on a cable, wasn't it?
Yeah, she started off on the bowl, and then it was this whole thing.
Yeah.
But the point being is that, like, imagine how easy our show would be if we could just have everything pre-recorded, and I just sat here. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah, go.
So I'm gonna sit here and move my mouth, and you narrate the show.
Sure.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, how to make a bologna sandwich. First, take the bread, then place it on the table. Grab a knife.
Hold on. Like, could you think of something a little bit more entertaining than how to make it? Okay, all right, let's do it again.
Pop goes the weasel.
We're gonna have to. This is all right. Let me get out my little thing here to write down. Write Blake a script.
You're trying to make me come up with that off the top of my head. That's what's on top of my head.
Jesus. So, sure. I know people who thought the performance was good because they have no musical talent or good taste at all probably vehemently disagree with me. Or I'm going to be called a racist because, of course, I can't possibly not like the show because it was bad. I only dislike it because I'm a racist. Blake, tell me your honest opinion. Now you're an audio engineer. Mm-hmm. You've been in music for decades. Tell me your honest opinion of the show.
Honest opinion?
Yeah.
Well, I think they were going for what people knew those artists as.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, when you think of Shakira, you think of the songs that she sang because those are all her hits.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of J-Lo, you think of that. You know, and looking back on their music videos from the older days, I mean, there was a lot of butt wiggling then. You know, the poll was pushing it. The poll was kind of pushing it.
Yeah.
I thought it was touching that she had the little girls up there singing with her. That was kind of cool. Kind of wish it wouldn't have been her daughter. You know, maybe it would have been a couple of little girls from, like, Miami or something that won a contest. That would have been cool. You know, but technically speaking, they pulled off amazing things in 6 minutes setting all that up. But other than that, I mean, it was just a bunch of dancing and lip syncing. And, I mean, I get it's a technical challenge to have live music out there, but come on, dude. Now,
that's interesting that you'd say that because I've seen some people that were complaining that they didn't feel that it was touching that they included the kids in the show. They actually feel like that was a poor choice because the show was a bit adult in nature. It was a bit, you know, the dancing, the bared legs and midriffs and all that stuff. That the overall theme of the show was a bit explicit in nature. And then having a part of the show have a bunch of little teenage girls, you know, dancing around on stage, that was poor form.
But I think what they were trying to do was, you know, kind of show kind of sort of this women's empowerment kind of thing too, which I feel maybe was a little bit overexploited.
Yeah, I mean, you know, now, you know, female power and all that. But yeah, I mean, I can see that a little bit. I guess ultimately the thing that kind of bothers me the most about just the outpouring of either pro or con, how people feel about the Super Bowl halftime show is it bothers me that people can't accept other people's opinions as a valid opinion and disagree with it at the same time and not prescribe negative connotations to other people.
Right.
So you can think that the show was good because you genuinely enjoyed the musical performance, or you liked the cultural reflection, or you liked that the changes in scenes or the different artists that were involved. That's okay. You're wrong, by the way, because it was terrible, but that's okay. And you can also think it was bad because the music sucked and the scenes sucked and they included a bunch of over-exploitative type crap. But because you think it sucked, it doesn't mean you're a racist.
Right.
And just because you thought it was good doesn't mean you're a pedophile either, by the way.
Right.
Now, I don't know, maybe pedophiles do like the show. We'll have to find somebody. We'll have to find someone who wants to come on the show and say, as the local pedophile, I liked or disliked this this performance. I actually know, on second thought, we're not going to do that. Guys, we'll be right back after this break. Hey, did you see the playoff games last weekend?
Oh, you're into the sports ball game.
Sports Ball with Mike Meharry and Alan Mosley. sportsballpodcast.com.
Sportsball is not a libertarian sports show. It's a sports show done by a couple of libertarians.
For when you need your bread in circuses.
That's so cool. I feel like we may have done the wrong thing in designing all of these bumpers and commercial breaks, because I feel like people are going to ultimately say, you know, the music was way better than the actual show. Go back to the song. Play that one song again, Alan. Yeah, well, all I can say is that one of these fingers is a dirty finger. I can't show it to you because we'd have to bleep it out, but it's thinking about you.
You behave.
Leave me alone. Like I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job of cleaning up the act.
You are.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So it's time for our desk segment where we cover a little bit of the recent news. Now, we're not doing impeachment, but we are coming on the heels of the Iowa Caucus. Now, the Iowa Caucus, anyone who's been following it all, it was a bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
Now I know what you're thinking. Well, of course it was a disaster. It involved the Democratic Party, and you'd be right. Technically, there was a Republican caucus, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Trump won with 97% of the vote.
Sure.
But there was a couple of dudes that were. Bill Weld was one of them. Everyone's favorite former Libertarian candidate, Bill Weld, is running against Donald Trump for the Republican nomination, which is just BS.
Yeah.
I think I did read that he actually did get one delegate. Bill
Really?
Weld did. I think I read somewhere that one delegate out of the state's nominating process, he got one. So.
Okay. Well, I guess that's something, right?
I mean, I guess that's more than he'd get as a libertarian. But anyway, the whole caucus was really a disaster. And the reason being is that they had the votes, they were tallying everything up, and then there was this really long delay in revealing the tallies.
Yeah.
And you know, there's the long delay, and then apparently it has something to do with some app that was being used that somehow was malfunctioning. But you know, we live kind of in a really interesting political climate where I feel like more and more the mask is starting to fall off of the major parties, off of the corporate press. I think more and more people are starting to see abuse and corruption and fake news and distortion of the truth. I think people are really starting to come around to that more. I wish it would be even more than it is. But the point being is, and this is something that we actually talked about on the old show, is that it's not that I'm pro or con any particular conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorists in general. What it really is that when you have people that are known to be liars, then it invites conspiracy because you can't really believe anything they say or do. And I kind of feel like that's sort of what's going on in Iowa. So a lot of people were mentioning that in some of the precincts where the vote was really close, believe it or not, I'm not joking, it comes down to a coin toss. Did you know that, Blake?
A coin toss?
That if the vote is really close between one candidate or another as to who's going to get delegates in a precinct or whatever, they literally flip a coin and the coin toss determines the tie, right?
You're kidding me.
I mean, okay, it's a tie, you need a tiebreaker. I'm just saying they flip a coin for the tiebreaker. But anyone who's ever played old flipping a coin with their buddies knows that some people are good at flipping coins.
Yeah.
Some people are better than others. And some people figure out ways to weasel out heads when they want heads and tails when they want tails. I want you to take a look at this clip right here. So they're flipping a coin to determine delegates between Mayor Pete and Elizabeth Warren. Watch it.
Looks like he's kind of thinking about it.
He is. He's adjusting the coin, figuring out what it says, and then announcing it. Do that again. Play that one more time. We're going to narrate this.
Okay.
So he flips the coin, and right now in his hand, he's feeling it.
He's like, oh crap, that's not what I wanted.
He felt it to see what the result would be, and then he flipped the coin in his hand over to get heads. And then he announced, oh, heads. That's Buttigieg. So Pete Buttigieg gets delegates because it was heads. I guess heads was him and tails was Warren.
They should have got a blind guy to flip the coin, you know?
I'm telling you, man, that looked awfully shady. Like,
Real shady.
if you've ever, and especially like, I don't know what they were flipping. If you were flipping like a full $50 or something, like an older, bigger coin, and you actually feel the crevices on the coin, it certainly looked like that was a little bit yikes to me.
It was a little dodgy.
So,
sketchy.
So with that in mind, so keep in mind, Mayor Pete, who by the way is totally not a front runner, like the press and the media is trying so hard to make Buttigieg a front runner when he's just flat out not liked amongst large swaths of the community. But they're trying to promote him, and now, surprise, surprise, with all of this failure of the app and miscounting and coin tosses, Mayor Pete gets a bunch of delegates. I want you to take a look at this next little graphic right here. Buttigieg campaign paid firm that developed voting app blamed for Iowa caucus delays. Presidential candidate Mayor Pete Buttigieg campaign contributed money to the technological firm whose voting app contributed to reporting delays in the Iowa caucuses. Federal Election Commission filings reveal that Buttigieg's campaign gave tens of thousands of dollars to Shadow. Their name is Shadow.
It's Shadow.
It might as well be. It might as well be a Hydra.
Yeah.
It might as well be a Hydra.
Man?
We should like come up with like organizations that actually are fronts for criminals. Shadow, for God's sake. So pull that back up.
Goodness.
So Shadow, a technology company that has an investor in the Democratic Digital Nonprofit Organization acronym, was also paid $60,000 over 2 installments by the Iowa Democratic Party to build an app to help make caucus voting easier and faster for precinct voters. Filings also reveal that the Nevada Democratic Party paid Shadow $58,000 for, quote, website development. Now, I want you to go to this next graphic right here. This actually shows, this is the FEC filings. So you can actually see Pete for America Incorporated. That's whatever the account.
Shadow Inc.
Shadow Incorporated. They paid a couple of different installments of thousands of dollars to Shadow Incorporated for software rights and subscriptions.
Nothing shady there, man.
Nothing shady there at all,
Nothing
my
sketchy.
friends. Nothing to see here, folks. Now, of course, obviously, I'm being sarcastic and cynical, but again, it's like I'm trying to be as objective as I can possibly be, and I'm trying to say that, well, no one thing means for a certainty that we're seeing corruption again in the election process in the Iowa caucuses. If only I could think of any other time where something shady happened in the Iowa caucuses and the rightful winner didn't get his just due. Can you think of one, Blake? I can't think of one.
I can't think of one either. Oh well.
But anyway, some people are also talking about Bernie Sanders. That they can sort of kind of see the writing on the wall again. That even though Bernie Sanders has a lot of boots on the ground, has a lot of grassroots support, really had a good showing in the popular vote in Iowa, and yet Mayor Pete's walking away with more delegates, and Bernie Sanders is sort of kind of left holding the bag once again. Now, you know what? I'm making reference to the election in 2016, where it came down ultimately to Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. And a lot of people felt that Bernie Sanders was really the more energetic candidate that had more popular support amongst kind of your grassroots Democratic voters. And, you know, I don't want to rehash all the details here. You could do a whole episode on just this one topic. But I think it's pretty fair to say that the Democratic National Committee, the DNC, really thwarted on purpose. They went out of their way to make sure that Bernie Sanders could not win the Democratic nomination. It was Hillary's turn. The higher ups, the elites had made the decision that she was going to be the one that ultimately would run against Donald Trump. And of course, the rest is history from there. But I got to tell you something. Part of me sympathizes with old Bernie. Now, I don't agree with Bernie on any positions or platforms because, we're not communists on this program. Right. But part of me can't help but sympathize with Bernie a little bit just because you put in the work, you go on the campaign trail, you have the debates, you set up the grassroots, you run your campaign. Right? It's a lot of work. Yeah. It's a lot of work to run for president, and you get the support. You really do. Yeah. And yet the deck is stacked against you. It's just politics as usual. The deck is stacked against you. But I got to tell you, to be totally honest, I don't have a ton of sympathy for Bernie. And I'll give you one good reason as to why I just can't feel that bad for him. Go ahead and pull that up.
No!
Because when the feces hit the oscillating unit, he bent over. He acquiesced to what the DNC wanted, and he ultimately endorsed Hillary Clinton for president against Donald Trump. I got to tell you, get that. I can't stand to look at that woman anymore. I got to tell you, I would have so much more respect for Bernie Sanders. And I think a lot of his diehard supporters would have supported him all the more if he had said, you guys cheated. I do not accept this. I'm going to go to the convention and I'm going to make the biggest fuss I can. And if I ultimately am not the nominee by the time the convention is over, I'm going to run as an independent. I'm going to siphon votes from Hillary. I'm going to see to it that you lose. And I'm not going to allow you to paint me as the bitter, old, sore loser. No, I'm going to talk at every single campaign stop about how your crooked organization, the DNC, cost me the nomination, how you're propping up the elites. But he didn't do that. He didn't do a bit of that. At the end of the day, he sided with the elites. He builds his whole campaign on being for the little guy, right? Yeah. But at the end, when push came to shove, he sided with the political elite. Yep. He sided with the Hillary Clintons of the world against those supporters that had worked so hard for them. So I guess in a weird sort of way, I actually feel a lot worse for his genuine, hardcore grassroots people than I do for him. Because they put out the work, and then they saw their guy turn his back on them. And so, yes, maybe we do see the writing on the wall that it'll happen to Bernie once again, but I have no sympathy for him. We will be right back after this break.
Have you ever been talking politics with a friend and told, if you don't like it here, you should just move to Somalia?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, from the sandy beaches of Mogadishu, Sherry and I bring you Postcards from Somalia, one of the newer products of Little L Productions, where we take on all of the fallacies of the people who say, if you don't like it, you can just get out. I just noticed this, by the way. Have you noticed that I'm wearing the same suit and tie in every single commercial and every single scene?
It's because the only suit you own.
It's not, first of all, no, it's not. It's not the only suit I own, Blake. It's definitely not the only tie. I own a ton of ties. Yeah. I just noticed, I like this tie.
Why don't you switch it up a little bit?
I'm just saying, I wear a different tie like every episode. Yeah. I'm just saying that when we filmed the commercial, I was wearing this tie. Oh, okay. And then when we filmed the next commercial, I was wearing this tie. And then when we filmed today, I was wearing this tie. So it looks like we did the whole thing here today, but that's actually not true. This was done. Some of that stuff was actually done like a year ago. Yeah, I know.
It was a long time ago.
It's why it sucks. It's the problem is. But anyway, so we talked about the halftime show. Right. We talked about the game. Yep. The one thing we haven't talked about yet is the commercials. Yeah. Like it's a big thing for people. Like every single, like there's a lot of people who are not even into sports. Yeah. They're not into sports ball game, but they watch because they're watching for the commercials. Right. And there, there's been some great, like there's been some Doritos ones that you remember. There's GoDaddy.com. Like remember the GoDaddy.com of the lady with the giant tracts of land, as Monty Python would say. And like the buttons are popping on her top, and then when it gets down to right here, the graphic comes up and it says, to see the rest of the ad, go to GoDaddy.com. Like, that may or may not be your cup of tea, but the point being is that that's a very memorable commercial. Yeah, and fun. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. It's memorable. It's fun. They really got their money's worth because to this, like that was like 20 years ago, and today we're sitting here talking about, hey, remember that commercial? This year's commercials, I really didn't feel were like that. They were a little bland. They were a little. They just weren't very. There wasn't a lot of pop. They weren't very provocative. Yeah. And I'm not saying that every commercial has to be like that. Right. I'm just saying that you're spending, what was it, like $5.6 million for a spot. Yeah, it's really high. Yeah, that's what it's up to now. You want it to be something that sticks in people's heads. And for most of the commercials, I had to actually go back and review them for today's segment because I didn't remember most of them. They weren't very memorable. But there was one show. I want to start off with one. We're actually going to let this commercial play, and we're gonna share in the experience together.
Okay.
Google had a commercial that, if you're thinking like fun, party, provocative,
Chicken wings.
it was none of those things. I wanna share in this experience with you guys. So, Blake, play the Google.
Photos of me and Loretta.
Photos of Loretta. Oh, it's an old couple.
Remember? Loretta hated my mustache.
I already don't
Remember?
like where this is going.
Loretta loved going to Alaska and scallops. Show me photos from our anniversary.
They were a cucumber.
Remember, she always snorted when she laughed.
I can't help but notice the past
Play our
tense
favorite
that he's
movie.
putting there. Mars Casablanca.
That's something like it. Am I supposed to be crying?
Remember? I'm the luckiest man in the world. Come on, boy.
A little help with the little things.
Is Loretta dead? She died.
She's dead. That's an old man trying to remember his wife that's dead.
What? How are you supposed to eat chicken wings to that?
Okay, so here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. When I first saw that commercial,
It's horrible.
yes, it did stick out. So we'll check that box. It did stick out. I did remember it. But it's the Super Bowl.
Yes.
You're sitting there. You're having your drinks. You're hanging out with your buds.
Beers, right?
You're
I don't
eating your
think
spicy wings. You're watching the big
Chips,
game.
Pizza.
Yeah, and
Face
then
paint.
this commercial comes on of this old man who maybe he has Alzheimer's or something. I don't know. And he's remembering his wife who has passed away. And I'm like, wow, that is not what I wanted to hear
What a Debbie Downer.
during the Super Bowl. I gotta tell you, this is the only reason I mentioned this one in particular was that on the one hand, I remember it. So I guess technically it's a good commercial because you remember the commercial. On the other hand, would it have killed you have done something like with titties or music or or some celebrity saying yeah
Something
and
that
doing
popped, right?
like you had to do that. Can I say titties on this
I don't
show?
know. I don't think you can
Is that
say
I don't you can't say okay, we'll have to
It's okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
Oh well, we'll do better next
It's
week.
PG, right? Go ahead.
But I'll tell you the other ones that really stood out to me is Planters Nuts, Peanuts.
Yeah.
Everyone's beloved Mr. Peanut had
Yeah.
actually died. They actually filmed like this action scene commercial where Mr. Peanut like sacrificed himself to save people or whatever. And Mr. Peanut, like remember the top hat and the
Yeah, man.
Mr.
I
Peanut
remember that
is
guy.
dead.
He's dead.
And then they have a commercial where they're doing a funeral for Mr. Peanut and like someone cries on the ground and out of the tears springs #baby nut. There he is right there.
He's so cute.
So first of all, I just want to say, I don't know if I really like the Twitter tag #baby nut. That just doesn't seem right to me. I don't know. I couldn't like it. I kind of felt weird even writing baby nut on our show notes today. So pull that back up. So there's
Okay.
so there's baby nut.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is really just a ripoff of another more recent cultural phenomenon. Of course, there's The Mandalorian, the Star Wars TV show that's on Disney Plus, and what has brought fame to Mandalorian? Of course, it's Baby Yoda.
Yay!
There's Baby Yoda right there.
God, look at the teeth.
Look at those teeth. This is the biggest close up I've seen of Baby Yoda. Look at those teeth.
Man.
Yeah, he doesn't need the Force. He just bite you to death.
Did you
So-
have teeth like that?
I didn't until just now. So it just kind of strikes me as a sign of kind of a flagging brand whose better days are behind them.
True.
That's trying desperately to cling on to cultural relevance
Kinda like Star
relevance
Wars, yeah.
by using babies as a sort of a mascot, for your show. Like, that's deplorable. I when people do that, that's how you know that they've really taken a turn for the worse, and their best days are behind them.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which,
What?
Look at that guy.
Oh, that's one of your baby goats.
Goat, yeah,
Oh, that's lovely.
cute. Yeah, that's Penelope. She's really amazing.
That's
Cute
Penelope.
goat. Yeah,
I like that.
Penelope starts with a V.
Oh, we should do that more.
yeah.
We should do that. We should
Definitely.
have more of your baby
More
goats on the show to improve ratings.
Goats are so cute.
Yeah, I like that. Anyway, guys, we will be back after this final break.
Hi, I'm Blake Osborne, owner of Osborne Studio and Sound in Columbia, Tennessee. I've been a DJ for over 20 years, and I'm proud to have been a part of over 1,000 weddings and events all across the mid-state. My clients can expect an exciting experience both for you and your guests. I come equipped with state-of-the-art sound and lighting technology to perform in any environment for any audience. MC, DJ, or videographer, or all of the above. Clients of Osborne Studio and Sound enjoy all these services rolled into one affordable package. When choosing entertainment for your special day, call Blake Osborne of Osborne Studio and Sound at 931-381-1000 or join us on the web at facebook.com/Osborne Studio and Sound Pro Services.
Guys, consider following us on Facebook by liking our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/funnybroke. You can also follow me on Twitter. I'm over on Twitter. Give me a follow. It is at Alan M. Mosley. That's Twitter, at Alan M. Mosley. Also, you can see our entire library of content over on our YouTube page. You can subscribe to our YouTube, youtube.com/funnybroke. So what do you think, Blake? This is the first one in the can.
I did pretty good.
Think so?
Yeah.
Wait, did you just say it was pretty good or you did pretty good?
It was pretty good.
I think what you just said is I did pretty good. I think that's what you just said.
I think you did amazing. You did wonderful.
No, you said I, as in you were saying me, Blake, I did a good job. I think that's what you just said.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was very good.
I'm not saying you didn't do a good job. I'm just saying.
Great job.
You did. You did do a good job.
You too.
Well, thank you. So we have so many people to thank. Thank you by the way, thanks to everyone for sticking around with us, because I know it took us a few weeks there to kind of get back in the saddle, but we're going to be back on now full time every Wednesday. Sir. You can see the premiere on Facebook, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time.
Yep.
As well as on all your favorite podcasting platforms of choice. All that stuff's going to stay exactly the same. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, yada, yada, yada. Guys, thank you so much, and we will see you next week.